Long oval at Stafford Motor Speedway, the next location for the contest here with Upstate Racing. 100 laps around the half-mile track on a particularly hot day, and who knows what will happen as we get ready to go racing live from Stafford Motor Speedway. You are watching the Upstate Racing League Late Model Spring Series live on LSRTV. Good evening, race fans. Joe Cortez joining you in the booth tonight for what's going to be 100 exciting laps here at Stafford Motor Speedway, 50 miles around the big oval, and at this rate, anything can happen here on the track. 3 minutes before we grid these guys up and watch them duke it out for 100 miles at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Not terribly unlike some of these racing we've seen earlier this week in the real NASCAR circuit and even here in the sim world. Everyone getting the late models ready for what's going to be a very entertaining spring season in iRacing, with the old late models and the super late models both released. Should make for some very fun racing across all ends. Upstate Racing has been a while since we've seen them here on LSRTV. They have been keeping very, very busy so far this season. They've run 6 races so far. Let's go ahead and take you through the points as they stand. Despite not winning a race, Sean Breitzman is on top of the group, currently first in points. Justin Fuller second with 2 wins. Bruce Perry third. John Ellers fourth. Greg Netherwood, you're in position number 5 in points. Brian Macklin, Matt Bontempi, Matthew Wright, Chris Robertson, Timmy Hill round out your top 10. Timmy Hill getting at least one win, in his only race he's run here with Upstate Racing in the Pro Late Model Series. So lots of great talent in this group, lots of names you've heard here on LSRTV and across the iRacing sim. Guys like Sean Breitzman, Justin Fuller, you've heard that name before. Brian Macklin, you heard that name. Matt Bontempi, Matthew Right, EJ O'Rourke, all guys that have been known to compete here, and all guys that, when you attract this much talent, when you attract this many good guys here to a season, it can only mean good things on track, and we're getting ready to see some good things here on track at Stafford Motor Speedway. Half mile, very, very, very flat track here at Stafford, but that's going to make for some very entertaining racing with these late models. Virtually no banking through each of the turns, though in practice we saw a lot of guys get loose going through turns 3 and 4, not really able to negotiate that turn. A lot of guys complaining about how the temperature is affecting their tire pressure here in these late models, and with that tire pressure not working the way they wanted to, it does make for some very, very difficult driving in these classic late models you're going to see here live on LSR TV. When they went racing last time, it was at Thompson's International Speedway. Justin Fuller won that race handily. Philip Thompson came in second. Bruce Perry third. Matthew Wright fourth. John Knoll rounded out your top 5 when we did 100 laps from Thompson International Speedway in the last pro late model event with Upstate Racing. Rounding out your top 10 in that group was Christopher Roberts, Danny Dubuque, Charlie Ryan, Brenden Koehler, and your administrator here, Al Smith Jr. finished rounded out the top 10 here in the last event, International Speedway. And you see a lot of those guys now running on track, warming up here at Stafford, getting ready to do 100 laps of green flag racing. Justin Fuller in the Checkpoint Graphics Ford. He's sitting in position. He'll start position number 2. He's currently warmed up at his second right now. Brandon Otto on track as well. Dylan Casanova, Eric Haig coming off pit road. Jason McClatchy is showing a good time right now in warming up in position number 6. Dylan Canova in that group in the 07 also as well. Danny Dubuque in the top 10 here tonight. But right now, Brandon Otto is the man to beat in the warm-up session so far. That number 24 machine turning in the fastest time of the group. Brandon Otto, almost a household name here in the iRacing sim. It's not a late model race until you get the Racing Memes Corvette out on the track, and you see him doing just that in that carbon fiber paint scheme. We'll have to keep an eye on Brandon Otto tonight as he gets ready. Al Smith Jr. pulling down the attention of his crew in the Upstate Racing machine. He's always a contender to watch in these races. Your administrator, always a lot of fun to watch, and I'm sure we'll see him get in the mix throughout the race tonight. So as we get ready to go green flag racing here in just a moment, the pace car is on the front, the start finish line. Let's go ahead and take you through tonight's qualifying lineup as soon as the cars get down there. Al Smith Jr. giving the last-minute instructions to these drivers as you see him start to pop onto the starting grid here tonight. In leading the group, it will be the 71 machine of Nicholas Rasmussen. You see him running in the very front of the field right there at the start-finish line. As soon as we get the other drivers on the grid, we'll get ready to do 100 laps here at Stafford Motor Speedway. They file in behind him. Now we've got our front group together. Let's go ahead and take you down tonight's starting lineup. Nicholas Rasmussen on the pole tonight in the 71 machine, during a time of 20.946 to start his qualifier, to put him on the pole. Jared Turnbull in the 9 machine. He will start position number 2. It's a 112 of Bruce Perry starting position number 3 tonight. On the outside of him, your administrator here at Upstate Racing, Al Smith Jr., starting 4th. Jason McClatchy in the 70 machine will start position number 5. Dale O'Neill in the 116, starting position number 6. Pace car rolls off. Let's continue going through the starting lineup. In row number 4, Charlie Ryan in the 16 on the inside. Christopher Roberts in the 19 on the outside. Row number 5 belongs to Dylan Canova in the 07 machine. On the outside of him, Brandon Otto in the 24 will start 10th. Matthew Wright, Justin Fuller will round out row number 6. Danny Dubuque, Scott Davis will be row number 7. Brian Wilson, Michael Allen will be row number 8. And rounding out this field, the 76 of Corey England, the 17 of Philip Thompson, and the 00 machine of Eric Haig. Rounding out your 19 cars that will start tonight here at Stafford Motor Speedway. A lot of guys reminding each other it is a long race, 100 laps here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Nothing to mess around with, nothing to play with. You either finish, you finish, or you don't finish at all. As it's been said before, in order to finish first you must finish, and a lot of guys will have that mentality tested tonight. A couple guys going to the end of the field tonight. Justin Fuller will be starting from the, Dylan Canova will be starting from the end of the field tonight, as well as Scott Davis. They will start at the very tail end. Not sure exactly why. Well, I'm sure that will play out, though, as we get ready to go. Green flag racing. Nick Rasmussen in control of the field as the first racing Ford Mustang pace car gets the heck out of the way. Nicholas Rasmussen hits the gas, and we have started lap number 1 of 100 here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Nick Rasmussen wastes no time getting in front of the number 9 machine of Jared Turnbull. Bruce Perry, Jason McClatchy now starting to go single file. In position number 5, it's a battle. High side just not able to hold on. The Scott's Miracle Grow machine, that belongs to Charlie Ryan. He's going to get the run, and now he's going to be in position number 5. Matthew Wright in position number 6. Al Smith trying that high side early. Not going to work as Justin Fuller gets a push from Brandon Otto, and the number 24 machine gets around the 20. The 19 machine of Christopher Roberts, he's looking to join the party as well. The 20 of Al Smith Jr., he can't stop them. He can only hope to contain the bleeding, and it looks like he will as he ducks into that inside line. Dale O'Neill drops a position as well, goes from position number 9 to position number 11. Danny Dubuque in the 61 machine, he is position number 12. And a lot of guys just kind of wandering around at this point. We had a slow car on the back on the back straightaway now. That's a 75 machine of Brian Wilson. Check that, he's on the front straightaway going into turns 1 and 2. So Brian Wilson, not exactly sure what happened to him, but he is going to be very, very off the pace. Position number 5, it's a 7 machine of Matthew Wright. On the outside of Wright is a 16 of Charlie Ryan. Charlie Ryan just got a little too high. Open the door for the 7. Now they make contact. 16 goes high after the hip check from the 7 machine. And the 16 of Charlie Ryan, the Scott's Miracle Grow machine, he's going to need to grow a miracle to grow out of position number 9. He's going to have to dig a little bit to try to get around those guys and get some position back. Up front, looks like we have our first lead change. Jared Turnbull in the 9 machine, the playseat machine, gets around the 71 of Nick Rasmussen. Rasmussen about to go another position down as the 112 machine of Bruce Perry comes around. It sounds like we have a yellow flag on the field. Yes, we do, and it will be for the number 20 of Al Smith Jr. He got spun out, and he's going to bring out the first caution flag of the evening. So it will be the 20 of Al Smith Jr. Not getting a whole lot of help to self-spin right there, but it is a problem spot that we talked about earlier in the night just a moment ago. That's a problem spot that a lot of drivers have been having trouble with navigating those turns 3 and 4. And as you saw him just go around there a moment ago, it looks like he tried to push the car a little too hard. The back got away from him, and that is going to send the number 20 of Al Smith Jr. around. So our first caution flag of the evening will be on a self-spin on the 20 machine of Al Smith Jr. He will start towards the back of the field right now, being scored in position number 19. That is a long way to come back from, especially in these late models. Jared Turnbull, Nick Rasmussen, Bruce Perry, Jason McClatchy, Matthew Wright currently being scored your top 5, but look who's right behind them looking for more. Justin Fuller, Brandon Otto, Chris Roberts, Charlie Ryan, and Dale O'Neill rounding out your top 10 here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Al Smith Jr. asked his crew a moment ago, wait, what went wrong? Can you guys see it on the replay? The crew responded back, your first problem there, buddy, you shouldn't be asking about the broadcast. Just go out there and race your race. Al Smith Jr. will restart at the very tail end of this field. Scott Davis will restart out there with him as well. So both those drivers will have a long way to come up from this field, from positions 18 and 19, especially with them running single file. It's going to make for some very difficult racing as the pace car lights should go off this time by. Yes, they do. It's one more lap before we're back to green flag racing here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Jared Turnbull on lap number 9 continues to lead. He's took away that lead from Nick Rasmussen in the 71 machine. Behind them, though, a lot of hungry drivers looking for position. Jason McClatchy in the Coors Light machine, he's up there. The MRD machine of Bruce Perry, he's up there. Matt Wright, Justin Fuller, Brandon Otto, Chris Roberts, Charlie Ryan, Dale O'Neill, your top 10. Will they pick up position on this restart? We're about to find out as the pace car gets out of the way. It's up to the 9 of Jared Turnbull. He gets the jump. He hits the hammer, and the Playseat machine gets the big jump. And we are back to the business of racing. The 9 of Jared Turnbull gets the big jump. Down now for position number 2. Nick Rasmussen on the outside can hold on. It's a Bruce Perry that gets it. The 7 machine of Matt Wright almost gets loose. He almost got into that number 71 machine of Nick Rasmussen. Rasmussen will continue to hold on, but they continue to bump and battle back and forth behind him. They were more battling. Jason McClatchy, Brandon Otto continuing to battle back and forth. 3 high, 4 low, and that low side just looks like they have got the advantage out there as they're going to continue to move forward. Jared Turnbull still in front of the MRD machine of Bruce Perry second, and now the 24 machine of Brandon Otto almost gets loose, has to pull onto the apron to save it. He's going to go side by side with the 71 of your pole sitter, and that Nick Rasmussen. Rasmussen barely able to hold on, but he is going to lose a lot of position. Now here comes the 51 machine. That 51 belongs to Justin Fuller. Fuller trying to get the advantage on the 71 of Rasmussen. Christopher Roberts in the 19 machine. The KR machine is trying to get the jump as well. And here comes the number 70 of Jason McClatchy. You saw him drop some positions early as he decided to go high, let everything sort out around him. He's now going to go low and pick up position on that 71 of Nick Rasmussen. Now back towards the front in position number 4. It's a 5 in the 51 machine. Check that position number 3. It's going to be the number 7 machine and the 51 trading blows. The 7 just gets loose on the high side. Can't make it work. He will drop 2 positions, score Justin Fuller, position number 4 in the 51. Now Chris Roberts trying his luck in the 19 machine. He's going to try to get around the 51 if the 51 will let him. He doesn't have a choice now. The 19 throws the nose in there, the KR Chevrolet, and he is going to dig as hard as he can side by side. They are making contact through the straight front stretch, and now in the turns 1 and 2, the 51 goes way high, can't control it. Fuller loses position to Chris Roberts. Score Chris Roberts now in position number 4 as he tries the crossover. Will it work? No, just might. Up front, no change. Jared Turnbull up front. Bruce Perry second. Brandon Otto now squarely position number 3. Chris Roberts retains the position on Justin Fuller. Now Fuller under battle from Matthew Wright. Matthew Wright able to use the apron to his advantage. Gets in the 51. The 51, though, gets a better run through the turn and keep the 51 of Justin Fuller in position number 5. Matthew Wright, Jason McClatchy in their top 7. Now Nick Rasmussen under fire from the 16 of Charlie Ryan. He had a little bit of an issue earlier where he almost got out of the line and cost him the race. Now you see him just digging as hard as he can, and the Scott's Miracle Grow machine gets around the 71 of Rasmussen. Rasmussen wants a challenge with a crossover. Not going to happen, though. Charlie Ryan just too strong. Score the Scouts machine in position number 9. Danny Dubuque in the 61. He is currently position number 10, and he's going to continue to work as hard as he can. Philip Thompson, Dale O'Neill for 11th and 12th. The Pat Truman machine of Michael Allen. 13th is as the number, it's 00 of Eric Haig. runs right behind him. Eric Haig in that Kiss machine, right on the tail of the 59 machine of Michael Allen. Michael Allen not budging an inch, though. We'll have to watch those two drivers battle it out. Dylan Canova right now, just watching those two guys go at it, watching those two guys figure out what they want to do and in what order they want to do it. Time running starting, not yet running out yet, but you got to be a little bit cognizant of time. When we cross the line, they'll be scoring lap number 20. After that point, it will be 2/10 of the lap done, or the race done. 1/5 of the race done here at Stafford. So you don't want to start putting your money down on the table just yet, but you got to be cognizant of how much time will affect you as you get ready to kind of calculate your race backwards here at Stafford. Jared Turnbull continues to lead as we're officially 1/5 of the way done. Bruce Perry second, Brandon Otto third, Chris Roberts fourth, Justin Fuller rounding out your top five. Now battle looks like it's for round position number 11 as Philip Thompson in the 17 machine gets around the 116, the A&W machine of Dale O'Neill. O'Neill trying to hold on, trying to get back around that 17. The crossover not working handily for guys who have been passed out here tonight. So these guys are going to now have to figure out something else, another way to get around and get their positions back. And really, so far, it's more of a matter of the person in front of you making a mistake, forced or not. Once they make the mistake, you have to be ready to capitalize and make it work to your advantage. Behind them, another battle brewing between the 59 of Michael Allen and the 00 of Eric Haig. Eric Haig now just easily gets around the 59 machine after working him through turns 3 and 4. Haig now in position number 13. The 59 of Michael Allen 14th. Dylan Canova 15th. And then you got that retro Marlboro color machine out there, the 76 of Corey England. You used to see that particular scheme all the time over in EF1 and the kart series. He's bringing back the Marlboro colors, not something we see on a regular basis, but the 76 making it look so good. The Marlboro machine of Corey England in position number 16, trying to smoke the rest of the field as he continues to dig here on lap 24, now scoring lap 25. Jared Turnbull, Bruce Perry, Brandon Otto, Christopher Roberts, Justin Fuller, your top five right now. And all these guys not doing a whole lot of anything. They're not jeopardizing their race. They're not risking anything. They're just kind of running their race right now, running single file, doing what they can to run in the race and making sure that they have a car that will finish at the end of it. Quarter of the way officially through. Turnbull, Perry, Otto, Roberts, Fuller, your top five. 24 machine of Brandon Otto just a moment ago tried to challenge the number 112 of Bruce Perry. That's the MRD machine. You saw the 24 earlier just use that apron to his advantage as if he was trying to hook the tire there and get a little bit faster grip through the turns, see if he could throw it down just a little bit harder. He tried that with the 112 machine, almost cost the 24 getting loose and going around the same way we saw Al Smith Jr. do. Smith Jr. didn't do it. Still running in position number 19, but Brandon Otto didn't make that same mistake. He kept it all forward. The bad news was by doing that, he lost that position. He lost all the momentum he built up to challenge the 112 of Bruce Perry. You see him now trying to build that up again, about a half car length between the 112 machine of Bruce Perry and the 24 of Brandon Otto. Chris Roberts behind them, position number 4. Justin Fuller, position number 5. And the rest of this field single filed out throughout the field, and we are just running. We're just running laps at this point, watching time go away. Currently scoring lap 29 up front. Still nothing's changed. Jared Turnbull up front, but now we have some battles going on around him or behind him. Let's go back to position number 9 with the 71 of Nick Rasmussen. Remember, he was your pole sitter, just not fast enough to keep up with your top group. Danny Dubuque right behind him in the Sonic Ford Fusion. He keeps trying to catch up to the 71 machine, keeps pulling up to his bumper, and then just lets him get away. Now you see the 61 trying to force the issue a little bit, tries to make the run, again, using the apron to his advantage. Now 61 gets around. The 61 of Danny Dubuque, the Sonic machine is in the infield, and we have another car up in the wall. That's the 116 of Dale O'Neill. Those two drivers hooked up as the 61 tried to make the pass. Didn't work though, ends up getting hooked up with that A&W machine, and those two drivers are going to have some damage as a result of that. Dale O'Neill in trouble. He's going to come down to the attention of his crew, and actually that might be as nice. You see him just park it there right at the entrance of pit road, and the other driver, that other driver might be coming down pit road now as well. Yes, the 61 of Dubuque comes down pit road, gets what he can done, and now he's going to be back on the racing surface, but he will be one lap down. And you see the replay, those two drivers just getting together right now. They just tried to make it work. The 116 really wanted to help that driver of the 60 machine make it work out there. 61, I should say, of Danny Dubuque. He tried to make it work, tried to go with him on the pass, but the pass wasn't there. And because the pass wasn't there, that ended up with both of them just going their separate ways. No yellow flag on that one, though. They keep him running straight and green as we continue here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Third of the race done, and now we got 3 wide in the middle of the pack. The 20, the 51, the 112, they are going to try it 3 wide for the first time tonight. The 20 machine of Al Smith, he goes a lap down as a result of that, but the 51 and 112 still doing battle for position number 2. Justin Fuller holding it off on the high side. The 112 of Bruce Perry now down low, trying to apron to use to his advantage. Doesn't work. Justin Fuller retains position number 2. Bruce Perry now in 3rd. Chris Roberts 4th. Brandon Otto 5th. Al Smith Jr. needs a yellow flag if he wants to try to get back on the lead lap. It looks like he's struggling a little bit out there in that number 20 machine, but he's a fighter. He might find a way yet. Your top 5 shaken up, but nobody's still answering to Jared Turnbull. Turnbull in a class of his own. Fuller 2nd, Bruce Perry 3rd, Chris Roberts 4th, and Brandon Otto, your top 5. Third of the way done here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Let's step away from the microphone, take a quick break. You are watching the Upstate Racing League live at Stafford Motor Speedway here on LSRTV. Upstate Racing continues to run here live on LSRTV. Jared Turnbull continues to lead here on lap number 47, almost halfway through at Stafford Motor Speedway. Justin Fuller in position number 2 in hot pursuit. Little nose damage on the 51 machine, but shouldn't hurt him a whole lot as you see him continue to try to reel in that number 9 machine. About a car length between the 9 and the 51. Position number 3 belongs to Christopher Roberts in the KR Chevrolet. He continues to run dominant behind the 51 machine. Brandon Otto 4th, and it will be Jason McClatchy rounding out your top 5. Al Smith still in the mix there, despite being a lap down. He's picked up a lot of positions, and now he's trying to catch up to your leaders to get his lap back the hard way. Charlie Ryan, position number 6. Matthew Wright, 7th. Scott Davis, Philip Thompson at 8th. Nick Rasmussen, 9th. Aaron Haig rounding out your top 10. Haig finished on the outside of the top 15. In fact, he started shotgun on this field, and now just shows you how strong that Kiss machine has been. He has now kissed the top 10, and he wants to make something work a little bit harder out there. He wants to rock and roll all night and party every day in that 00 machine, and hoping to party in victory lane with the 00 Kiss machine. Eric Egg running in 10th. Dylan Ganova, who is running strong on the 07 machine, now position number 11. It'll be Michael Allen in the Pet Trumu machine He'll be position number 12. Corey England in the throwback Marlboro machine. The Marlboro man running in position number 13. Danny Dubuque, after being involved in that incident, position number 16 right now. Brian Wilson, he had an incident earlier in the race. He'll be 17th, but now all eyes up front as the 51 is caught up with a 9, and we got a challenge for the lead officially halfway through. Cross flags flew last time around. Now they're scoring lap 52. Jared Turnbull trying to keep away from Justin Fuller. Fuller, car length and a half away. The 19 of Christopher Roberts. There's only a car length away between the 19 and the 51. And we saw those drives do battle not terribly long ago. They're going to continue to do battle here as they get ready to come back around. Jason McClatchy now getting around the 20 machine of Al Smith Jr. Smith Jr. ducks right behind the 20 of Jason McClatchy, and McClatchy continues to run hard. Brandon Otto looks like he might have a little bit of checkup on his Corvette. The Racing Memes Corvette, though, still running as hard as he can, and he will retain position number 4. Meanwhile, all eyes are on your top 3. Turnbull, Fuller, Chris Roberts continuing to run dominant, over halfway done here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Dale O'Neill, Bruce Perry have pulled it off for the night. Now what was a 19-car challenge will only be down to 17 cars testing here tonight at Stafford Motor Speedway. Still up front, no change. Turnbull, Fuller, Roberts, your top 3. And now you start to see Brandon Otto catch up with those guys right in front of him. So Brandon Otto now going to try to do what he can to catch up with them. Only 1 second behind with Jared Turnbull, which isn't a whole lot of time. But it certainly love it to be those half-second splits that come between your top 3 right now. Otto now trying to catch up with the number 19 machine. Christopher Roberts looks like checked up a little bit, anticipating something crazy happening between the 51 and the 9 machine. The 51 dangerously close to the 9 going into turns 1 and 2. Now 3 and 4, where we've seen a lot of guys self-spin tonight. They're gonna check up, back up just a little bit off each other, about a car length between the 9 and the 51. Jared Turnbull now getting into the turn. The 51 of Fuller, he's going to try to go with him. Still a car length away is Turnbull and Fuller. First, second, Chris Roberts in position number 3. And we're right on board now with the number 24 machine of Brandon Otto, and Otto is just kind of getting a bird's eye view of everything happening in front of him. He's got his eye on the number 19 machine that belongs to Christopher Roberts, and just in front of him, he can still see the 51, the checkpoint design graphics machine of Justin Fuller. So Fuller, still in the mix right now, and Justin Fuller, he could definitely win this one like he won last week at Thompson International Speedway. Remember, he finished first after starting 12th at Thompson International Speedway. So if that's any indication of what he can do when he has the 51 running in perfect harmony, it's a good idea. It's a good show. It's a good test for, good demonstration of what he can do. And he might just be able to take away the points lead as a result of this. 2 straight wins, that's got to help you. 51, 19, 24, all bunched up going through the turns 1 and 2. Now he'll be forced to back off just a little bit. The 51, though, doesn't want to back off. He's going to continue to run. Less than half a car length between the 9 and the 51. Let's go on board with the 51 machine of Justin Fuller, just so you can see how close he is getting to that 9 of Jared Turnbull. He throws it into turns 1 and 2. The 9 of Jared Turnbull throws it just as hard as they continue to run well over 100 miles per hour down the stretches into the turns, still going between 75 and 80s. The 51 almost makes contact with the 9 of Jared Turnbull. Turnbull able to keep it moving forward. The 51 makes contact, but not hard enough to spin the 9 around, and they continue to run, going the right direction. Lap 62, time rapidly running out here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Jason McClatchy in position number 5. He is nowhere near that top group, that top 4 battling for the lead. He is currently sitting over 5 seconds away in the Coors Light Chevrolet. So Jason McClatchy, I think at this point he's just happy for the top 5, and he will continue to run it as best he can. Charlie Ryan, a little bit of damage on the front and back end of that 16 Scott's Miracle Grow machine. He will just be happy to run laps right now and just keep moving it in the right direction. Matthew Wright, the Harrah's World Series of Poker Chevrolet, he was running strong throughout the beginning of the evening, but he just lost that lead group, and while he lost that lead group, there's not a whole lot he can do. He needs a yellow flag if he wants to get back in the mix. Philip Thompson, Nick Rasmussen, your pole sitter, now relegated to position number 9, and Dylan Canova in the 07 machine. He's now in position number 10. He's found a way to pick it up through the field, and now he's going to continue to run and try to get himself a top 10 finish on the night tonight, despite the troubles he's been having this evening at Stafford Motor Speedway. Just 35 laps left to go, and they cross the start-finish line, and that number 9 almost lost it. That's going to open the door for the 51 machine. 9 goes high, and the 51 of Justin Fuller goes low. This could be a second consecutive win if he can hold on. 35 laps left in this contest, and Jared Turnbull is going to give up the position to Justin Fuller. The 51 Checkpoint Design Chevrolet will move up. The Checkpoint Design Ford will move up to position number 1, but he's going to pull along the number 19 machine of Christopher Roberts. Chris Roberts gets position. Now the 24 9 almost make contact coming off turns 1 and 2. The 9 machine holding on to position as best he can, falls back in line, blocks the 24 of Brenden Otto. The 4 cars, they continue to run in a line. They now turn into turns 3 and 4, and made no mistakes, no flaws. The number 51, though, now starting to show his stripes. We're starting to see how strong that number 51 of Justin Fuller is. Chris Roberts right behind him, and Chris Roberts makes contact with the 51. The 51 of Fuller knows what to do, saves it, keeps it going the right direction, now scoring lap 69, 32 laps left to go. Time is running out, and all these drivers looking for something. All these drivers know if they're going to pull the rabbit out of their hat, they need to do it now before time runs out. Justin Fuller looking for his second consecutive win. Christopher Roberts looking for a win here on the Upstate Racing League Spring Series in the late models. Jared Turnbull, he was your leader for many laps. Now he's relegated to running in third. Brenden Otto, who's been strong all night in that Corvette, he's now going to try to get around the number 9 machine. The number 9 just keeps ducking in low. Oh, the number 24 now has a nose. He uses the apron to his advantage. Can't get to run off the apron. He is stuck in position number 4 as you see these guys get around that retro machine, the Scott Davis Purelator retro Chevrolet out there. Gotta give a lot of love to these guys for running some of these retro colors out here. Not, you see a lot of tribute paint schemes, you see a lot of retro paint schemes, but nothing quite like the creativity and thought that have gone into some of these drivers here at the Upstate Racing League in Stafford Motor Speedway. Find them on iRacing. These guys are a lot of fun to run with. Good competitive racing for these groups. If you're looking for a league, these guys will not disappoint you. Upstate Racing League, proud to be broadcast by LSRTV. Looks like we got some problems on the track. Looks like we got one car in the dirt. That's going to be the 75 machine of Brian Wilson. He's going to be in the dirt, almost spinning out right in front of your leaders. The call is started between the 75 and the 07 machine. Looks like the 07 machine just spun the 75, and the 71 got a piece of it as well. 71 got into the dirt, was able to get back on the racing surface. The big loser there was the 75 machine of Brian Wilson. No yellow flag going to come out, as they were able to get away from your leaders before everything took place, but that is definitely going to hurt the 75 machine's chances tonight. Definitely not where you want to be. Meanwhile, back up front, Justin Fuller continues the lead. Chris Roberts second. It's going to be Jared Turnbull now in third, and Brenden Otto fourth, as your top two starting to break away from the rest of the group. Nick Rasmussen, the 71, is going to come down pit road after getting involved in that incident. Not sure what he's looking for, but he's going to try to do what he can to get that car running. These guys now about to start hitting some lap traffic. Turn up your speakers. Let's go ahead and crank it up as we go on board with some of these drivers as they wind down this race. 25 laps left to go, and still anybody's race. Fuller and Roberts competing for the win. Let's crank it up. 19 laps to go in tonight's event, and still everything is up for grabs here at Upstate Racing from Stafford Motor Speedway. Justin Fuller now starting to get more and more in control of this race. Half a second now over Christopher Roberts in second. Brenden Otto, Jaron Turnbull third and fourth, but they are at a millennium away. 2.3 seconds for Brenden Otto, 3.5 seconds for Jaron Turnbull. Guys, they need a yellow flag in a big way right now, and it might just come around as you see the 76, the Marlboro man, Corey England, trying to battle with the 07 machine of Dylan Canova. Dylan Canova driving that sharp-looking All-Star Performance Alpine Stars Camaro tonight. Just can't get a handle on the late model, and he's going to get in the wall. That's going to hurt as you see a little bit of damage now coming on that machine, on the right side of that machine, the 07 Dylan Canova. Good news, no incident happening, but the bad news is that's going to put a damper on his night. Corey England doing business with Brenden Otto. Brenden Otto currently scored position number 3, and he has no intention of getting rid of that position, as now he puts almost 2 seconds between him and Jared Turnbull, currently sitting position number 4. Back up front with about almost 15 laps to go, 15 when they cross the start-finish line. Justin Fuller continues to lead out here. He crossed the start-finish line, 15 to go. The number 19 of Christopher Roberts, though, starting to reel him in slowly but surely. Half a second between him and Christopher Roberts and Justin Fuller right now. Fuller getting away with it. Chris Roberts starting to reel him in, starting to drag him along for the ride. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. That time by, though, he did reel him in. Time running out here. If you're going to reel him in, you got to start making some big moves out there. And it looks like Chris Roberts saving his what's underneath his car till the very end. Slowly but surely, though, continuing to reel in the 51 of Justin Fuller. Brenden Otto still in third. 2-lap cars between him and Jared Turnbull. Turnbull now just sitting in fourth. And I think he's going to be happy for the fourth-place finish here tonight. Jason McClatchy on ball by himself right now in position number 5. No one near him. Charlie Ryan 6th, Philip Thompson 7th, Matthew Wright in the 7 machine. He is position number 8, and only 8 machines on the lead lap here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Back up front, Christopher Roberts continues to reel him in. 12 laps to go. Christopher Roberts 0.4 of a second behind Justin Fuller, and the number 19 of Chris Roberts continuing to reel him in like a spider, reeling in their prey. Chris Roberts looking for Justin Fuller slowly but surely. 11 to go now. Fuller, Roberts only 0.3 of a second. Roberts picked up a whole 1/10 of a second that time. He is saving his tires, saving his fuel for this run. He's got 11 laps to prove it. Now 10 laps when they cross the start-finish line. If he's going to make a move, he's got 10 laps to do so, and you know he's going to do everything he can to make that move. Start-finish line cross. Fuller, Roberts, only 28 hundredths of a second away from each other. Well, just about a 1/4 second away from each other. Blink of an eye, those two drivers continue to battle. Rest of the field just kind of pacing at this point. The race is all but decided, except for everyone but your 2 leaders. Lap 92, 9 laps to go. Justin Fuller, Chris Roberts, they continue to run about a 1/4 second between them. You blink your eye, they're going to be in the exact same place. That's how close they are. And now it's starting to heat up to be a battle. When we went racing with Upstate Racing last time, it was Justin Fuller finishing position number 1. Christopher Roberts finishing position number 6. And you know Chris Roberts wants a little bit of revenge. He wants to avenge that 6th place finish with a big win tonight. Justin Fuller looking for win number 2, a second consecutive win here in Upstate Racing. But only time will tell if he can pull it off. 7 to go. Fuller, Roberts, they're not going anywhere. They continue to run 37 hundredths of a second that time by. The number 19 starting to slip. Is the 51 getting stronger? The 19 getting weaker? We're not sure. We're going to keep watching these guys. 6 to go when they cross the line. Fuller, Roberts, your top 2. Now Roberts starting to get a little bit closer with 6 laps to go. 5.5 as they're now on the back straightaway. Justin Fuller in front. Christopher Roberts right behind him. And Roberts is doing everything he can to reel him in, trying to stay exactly in the tire tracks of the 51 machine in front of him. But it's getting more and more difficult with each passing lap. 0.2 of a second now. Roberts in front behind Justin Fuller. And he is reeling him in slowly but surely, though. It looks like there's a tow line almost between the 51 and the 19. The exact same laps they are running. Now the 19 is going to get bold. He's going to try that apron and get the hook. It's going to help him. He's now going to get on the back bumper, now trying to force the issue, trying to throw it down into turns 1 and 2, trying to get around the 51, the 19 on the apron. The 51 of Fuller doing everything he can to block him, keeping the ideal racing lane to himself. The 51 machine of Justin Fuller holding off the 19 of Christopher Roberts. They're going to come by the line. 3 to go at this juncture. Christopher Roberts holding off or being held off by Justin Fuller. Fuller about to looking for consecutive win number 2 here on the season. Fuller in the checkpoint design machine. Coming up on lap traffic now. The 7 of Matthew Wright could play into how this race ends. We'll have to see what they do. After turns 3 and 4. Popsicle sticks fly. 2 to go. Let's ride on board now with the 19 of Christopher Roberts as we have about lap and a half left to go. The 7's going to get out of the way. Let them have some clean racing to themselves. The 19 machine of Christopher Roberts. It looks like he's slipping a little bit. White flag flies this time. 1 more to go. Christopher Roberts doing everything he can, but he can't hold off Justin Fuller. Just too strong in the lap traffic. Might be throwing a wrench in the 19's plans on the back stretch. Going into turns 3 and 4 for the last time. The 1 machine throws the block on the 51. The 19 has another opportunity. Will it happen, though? No, it won't. Justin Fuller just too strong. Justin Fuller wins the Upstate Racing League race at Stafford Motor Speedway. Christopher Roberts right behind him. Brandon Otto, Jared Turnbull, Jason McClatchy, your top 5. As now you see the 19 and 51 making contact with each other. Not sure if the 19's a little mad at the 51 or if he's just giving him a congratulations bump. Either way, the 51 has to rescue it on the backside. And the 51 of Justin Fuller will take away his 2nd consecutive win here in the Upstate Racing League. Christopher Roberts finishes 2nd, Brandon Otto 3rd, Jared Turnbull 4th, Jason McClatchy rounds out your top 5 as Justin Fuller gets ready to burn them up here on the front stretch at Stafford Motor Speedway. The checkpoint design graphics machine, your big winner tonight. When we return, we will talk to the driver of that machine and your top 3 finishers and go over to the excitement in tonight's race. Justin Fuller, back-to-back winner. We'll talk to him when we return. You're watching the Upstate Racing League live on LSRTV. Justin Fuller, your back-to-back winner here at the Upstate Racing League. 100 laps done at Stafford Motor Speedway, and he gets to burn them out once again. Your big winner here at Stafford Motor Speedway with the Upstate Racing League live on LSRTV. Christopher Roberts finishes second. Brandon Otto third. Jared Turnbull fourth. Jason McClatchy, your top five. Going through the rest of the field tonight, Charlie Ryan sixth. Philip Thompson seventh. Matthew Wright eighth. Eric Haig ninth. And Michael Allen, your top 10. Dylan Canova 11th. Al Smith Jr., administrator here at Upstate Racing League 12th. Danny Dubuque 13th. Scott Davis 14th. Nick Rasmussen rounding out your top 15. The last four drivers to finish tonight: Brian Wilson, Corey England, Bruce Perry, Dale O'Neill. All four of those drivers not able to finish it under their own power, but they will finish nonetheless 15th through 19th, and that is your field of 19 cars here at Stafford Motor Speedway. But only one man can burn them out twice. That's the driver of that 51 machine, Justin Fuller, the Checkpoint Design Ford Fusion. Big win for you, buddy. Congratulations on 2 in a row.
Thanks, guys. 2 in a row, third for the season. It was a fun race. I kind of like that handicapping system. I got to work for it, get to the front. I actually set fast time in qualifying, but had to start 12th from the back, and was quite interesting to get there.
Started 12th in the back and had to climb your way through the field. How hard was it to try to dissect this field and bisect this field and work your way through it? Or was it much of a challenge at all?
Oh, it was definitely a challenge. On the cold tires, it's a lot easier for me to maneuver, I think, around cars on cold tires. Once the tires warmed up, though, it was extremely difficult because everybody's cars are settling in and they're running good, and it makes it a lot more difficult to pass cars, especially on a track like this where the corners are so tight and the straightaways are kind of long, but it's got to get that momentum down the straightaway.
Turns 3 and 4 seem to be a difficult place for a lot of drivers. We saw a couple drivers self-spin. A lot of drivers self-spin in the pre-race, in the warm-up. We saw a couple self-spin there during the race. How hard was it navigating that turn, and how were you able to make it work so well?
Honestly, 3 and 4, I didn't really have too much of an issue. It kind of came naturally, I guess, to me. Turn 1's a little difficult for me. It gets a little tight because I like to drive it in a little deeper. But other than that, I really didn't have too much of an issue.
So 2 wins on the season, or 2 in a row in here in the Upstate Racing League. 3 wins on the season. That's going to be a huge boost to your campaign. What's the rest of the season look like for you?
There's still, 5 or 6 races to go. Anything can happen. I think I came in here with a 16-point lead. Brenden Koehler couldn't make it tonight, which sucked because he was definitely the closest. I think it's quite a jump from second to third in points. But I haven't had any bad luck compared to the other guys where they have had bad luck. So anything can happen, man.
Anything can happen. Checkpoint Designs on the hood of the Ford Fusion. Who else makes it work for you, Justin?
I got to thank Checkpoint Graphics, John Ada. Timmy Hill Motorsports, all my friends over there, teammates. Got to thank friends, family, my girlfriend Amanda. She puts up with me doing this crap all the time. So nice of her to let me, come on here and brawl with these boys. I got to thank Al Smith for putting on the league with the Upstate Racing League, Smith Media Productions, Danny Dubuque for sponsoring this race. Guys do a lot for this league, and I appreciate it.
Justin Fuller walking away tonight with a 38-point lead after winning his 3rd race in the Upstate Racing League. Best of luck to you, Justin. I'm sure we'll see you on the track next time.
Yes, thank you.
That's Justin Fuller finishing first here on the field tonight. Chris Roberts finishing second behind Justin Fuller. And Chris, that was one heck of a battle that you had going with Justin. How competitive was it between you and him? And do you feel that if you had a couple more laps, you could have passed him?
Oh, yeah, it was competitive. It's been competitive all season between him and I. I haven't had a good finish due to some troubles. And this is finally the race that we had to, prove who was faster. And it came down to just us two in the last couple laps. And it was really intense, and it was actually a real good finish.
Chris, your car was strong all night. You found a way to lead a couple laps out here. When push came to shove, Justin was just a strong machine. How good was your machine? And say, 150 laps, 175 laps, would it have been a different story? Would it have been Chris Roberts in victory lane?
I think it would have been because I noticed in the center of the corner my car was rotating better and I was getting a better run off the corner than Fuller was. And give me even 25 more laps, I could have done a little more work, and I think I could have put a move on him. Just not enough time.
Unfortunately, it just never is. Let's talk about the track here tonight, because we saw a lot of guys struggling, especially in that turn 3 and 4. What was the secret for you to be so fast navigating it, and how are you able to keep it moving forward that entire time?
Yeah, the key is to stay on the bottom, because there's no racing groove up in the middle of the track. I think there wasn't any grip either. That's why a lot of guys are struggling. And where I was finding the grip was putting my left tires right on the crease of the apron and the bank surface, and that was just able to help my car rotate all night. And I felt like I was in a good groove.
A lot of stickers, a lot of sponsors on the late model tonight. Who makes it work for you, Chris?
Oh, that'd be Kenny Roberts and KR Construction, and big thanks to the Lake City RC Speedway, who a lot of them join this club, and it's fun to race with them on a weekend or a weekly basis.
That is Chris Roberts finishing second tonight. Chris, good running tonight. Hopefully we'll see you next time out in Victory Lane.
Thank you, guys. Nice broadcast.
That is Chris Roberts finishing second tonight in the number 19 machine. Also a household name here in the iRacing sim. Brenden Auto finishing third in the Racing Memes Corvette. And Brenden, you kind of came from nowhere tonight. Kind of had a quiet night to begin with, finishing it out in a big way with a third place finish.
Yeah, I can't be too mad at myself for that. I know at one point we were up there, trying to compete for the win early in the race, but I'll take a solid third place finish, and I'd say if I had about 20 or so laps, I probably could have caught those guys. I was rifling off the 20.44s, and we were really starting to come in towards the later part of the race, but we just didn't have enough for them.
You and Jared Turnbull had a great battle for that third place position. In the end, you ended up taking it away from him, and you never looked back. How great was it? How great of a race was it between you and Jared running out there with so much on the line?
Oh, it was a really good race. I know he's a really tough competitor, and he led, I think, most of the laps, if not all, for the most laps there. It was definitely one of the better parts of the race, getting around him, and I know he wasn't going to give it to me easy. He battled back and gave me a couple of bumps in the corners and stuff. Made sure I earned it. So yeah, it was definitely a good part.
Definitely earned that third place finish. You mentioned that if you had a few more laps, you probably could have caught up with him. There seemed a lot of guys to be playing conservation throughout the race. How much of this 24 machine did you have saved up by the end of the race, and do you feel like you could have gone now, knowing now what you wish you would have known then? Do you feel like you could have gone just a little bit earlier and caught up with us with the top two?
That's exactly my thoughts right now. I probably had too much at the end of the race. I probably could have gone a little bit harder in like the halfway point and the run between there and the end. I probably could have put my foot in the gas a little bit harder, but I'll take the third place and move on to next week and hopefully get up into the second points in the standings and try to go make a run at Fuller.
Brenden Auto driving in the Racing Memes Chevrolet Corvette. No, the Racing Memes, you got them on the hood. Who else makes it work for you, buddy?
Well, of course, yeah, we've got the iRacing Memes Facebook page. Also, I'd like to thank Alpine Stars, and I'd also like to thank DL Performance, Wesley Daniel, Andrew Lauer, and Austin Russell over there, giving me a great car tonight. I also just like to thank anybody else who came out and watched tonight. It really means a lot, and I hope you join us other times that we're on LSRTV.
That is Brenden Auto in the iRacing Memes Corvette. You don't often see Corvettes out here, so I got to give you a shout for the Corvette. That's a lot of fun watching that race against these other late models here on track.
Thanks. Yeah, it's my favorite car. I definitely got to transfer that one over to my super late model too, so you'll see that one out there.
Brenden Auto may be running the only super late model Corvette in the world, but he will run it with pride. Brenden, good talking to you. Congratulations on a big finish. I hope we'll see you finish just as well when we come back with you on LSRTV.
Thanks, guys.
That is Brenden Auto finishing third here tonight on the track. Before we go, let's talk to your league administrator here, and Al Smith, driver of the number 20 machine, finishing 12th tonight. Now, before we talk about your run, you got to be really happy with how this race ended. 100 laps, 50 miles here at Stafford, only one caution flag.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the caution was myself, and it wasn't I just got on the brakes too hard. But I'm very proud of the guys here at the Upstate Racing League, and I think we have probably one of the top-notch leagues that's running on iRacing right now. And it's just it's a really good. We had a good group of guys, good core guys. I was a little nervous tonight with having the Budweiser duels on TV, and I think we lost a couple competitors to that. But they have almost 20 guys show up. We're averaging 25 to 26 cars a week so far, and at the halfway point. Just can't say enough for the guys, and what a race that Fuller and Roberts put on, and toss out to Jared Turnbull for leading the most laps tonight.
Your night didn't go exactly as you had planned, getting involved in that first self-spin, bringing out the only caution flag of the night, but still 12th place isn't bad. How hard was it navigating that turn? We saw a lot of guys having trouble in that same exact spot that you spun out earlier tonight.
It was a factor of having cold tires, and with the new tire model that iRacing has given us with the late model, it's a challenge on the first 3 to 5 laps till the tires get some heat built into them along with the brakes, and it was difficult. You can't get on the brakes too hard. You can't be on the brakes going into that corner. It just wants to bring the rear end around and start spinning you out just like I did. Luckily, didn't get hit, and that was a blessing, and was able to stay on the lead lap, and the yellow came out, and just self-spin trying to get around the 75 of Brian Wilson the second time, which put me deeper back and went down all that lap and then just soldiered on.
Al, you mentioned the Upstate Racing League just picking up more and more momentum as the season goes on. 25 drivers out here every week, all competing for a lot of fun in a very respectful league. If someone wants to get involved, someone wants to find out more, where do they go?
They can head to upstateracing.com. We have a contact page there. We are on Facebook, so just look up Upstate Racing League on there as well. I just got to really thank, all the guys. There's Justin Fuller, Brandon Otto, Dan Dubuque, Kevin Baker, who unfortunately couldn't be with us here tonight, that worked so hard behind the scenes along with myself, just making sure everything is up to speed and everybody's happy. And it's just... we've had some issues this season, but nothing that a couple emails and giving the guys some clear head space to think about what actually happened go on. But it's a great league. Anybody can sign up. We're still signing up guys left and right. We've had some new guys over the last couple weeks and come in, and they're fast. Right off the one was Dale O'Neill, as you saw in the race here tonight, the number 116 car. Unfortunately, I guess he got into it with the Dan Dubuque in the 61 car, but just fast guys coming in all the time, and the caliber of drivers, as you see every time you guys broadcast this series, is just next to none.
Al Smith, one of your administrators here at Upstate Racing. Check them out online at upstateracing.com. And the link's right there in your description here on the player. Al, been great running with you as always. We look forward to seeing you again here on LSRTV.
Definitely. Thanks for the broadcast, guys. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
With that, we will. Al Smith, driving the number 20 machine. He's your lead administrator here at Upstate Racing. So that will do it for us here from Stafford Motor Speedway. 100 laps done. Justin Fuller, your back-to-back winner, looking to even solidify his points lead even more as we get ready to go back to racing in 2 weeks on LSRTV. My thanks, as always, goes out to Upstate Racing. Great group of guys. Check them out online at upstateracing.com. On behalf of our entire broadcast team, your executive producer and camera operator, Laura Lawson, I am Joe Cortez. Congratulating Justin Fuller one more time. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we get ready to go live with Upstate Racing once again. Until then, good night, everybody.